So in this video we are going to make a Scrafito plate, and I have two examples here. Here's a really nice example where you can see kind of the classic black and white. The clay is white and the under glaze is black. And here's another example kind of all over. So I wanted to show you how to make one of these. So you're going to need a form, and I'm using just a plate, a rib, a knife, a sponge, and then some carving tools. This specifically is the Scrafito carving tool. Like, that's how it's sold. So we have some of these, and so let's get started. The first thing you need is clay. So I'm going to go get my clay and bring it out here, show you how to cut the plate form. Okay, so I have my clay, and I'm going to first rib this side. So take your card, and ribbing compresses the clay. That's why we do it. It also smooths out all that canvas texture, and that canvas texture is on everything that you make with a canvas, and so kind of find it like lazy not to get rid of it. Okay, so if you have that on your pieces, it tells me you weren't really paying attention to your craftsmanship. Okay, so this side is all nice and smooth, so this is the side that I'm going to put face down on here. So I think I'm just going to cut it here to get rid of some of this excess. Move that over to the side. Kind of just get some big parts away. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over. Go. Okay, so the smooth side is now down towards the plate. I have a damp sponge. It's very lightly damp. There's not a lot of water. If I squeeze it, water doesn't really come out. And I'm going to kind of lift up one edge and then lift up another edge as I kind of sink the clay into the plate. And this takes off the canvas texture of this side. So it's molding it. If I kind of lift it up, I can get it down in there. And then I just want to smooth out all that canvas texture. Okay. And then get it nice and sunken in there, and then I want to cut it off, all the extra. So again, I'm going to turn it over, use my fettling knife to nicely cut around the edge. So take your time, do a nice job. If you get off track like I just did, that's okay. Just go back. Okay, and here is our plate. I did get a little bit more canvas texture on it, so I'm going to wipe that away while it's still really wet. Seems a little bit off here. So I'm just going to trim it up right here. My clay is super wet. Okay, so I want to let this dry. So I'm going to put this in a bag. The next step that we need needs to be leather hard, which means that it can hold its shape, right? So here, if I hold this like this, see how it droops and it flops, right? That's not leather hard. This is plastic. It's wonderfully plastic. But for the next stage, I need it leather hard. So I'm going to find a bag somewhere here. I'm going to put it in my bag. And I want this to slowly dry to leather hard. So probably a day in the bag, maybe 2. Okay, so it's been over the weekend actually, and my plate is now leather hard. So what that means is it will hold its form when I take it out of the mold, and but it's still like able to be carved, which is what we're going to be doing. So the next step, I just like to keep it in here. The next step is actually to put on the underglaze. So traditionally, Scrafito is done with black underglaze, right? White, we have white clay, so black underglaze, but you could do any color. And since our clay is white, you might try dark blue, dark green, any dark color, okay? So I'm just going to use the black, and I'm going to put 3 coats down. So here I go, covering everything. Okay, and because it is leather hard, you can see it's starting to lose its shine right away. It's absorbing in. If it was not leather hard, it wouldn't absorb right away, and then this step would take you a lot longer. So I'm just going to wait another minute and let that absorb in, and then we're going to do coat 2. You could do 2 coats or 3 coats. Doesn't really matter. Your choice. Okay, and my glaze is mostly dried in, and I'm going to do a second coat. And I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to show you how to carve. Okay, so we're just about dry. There's still a little spot there that needs to dry. And that's okay. I'm just going to talk to you about the carving tools. So this one I had said before is the traditional Scrafito carving tool. Kemper sells it, and it's great. So I have a lot of these in the classroom. Some people will carve with a stylus, which is like a needle tool with a ball on the end. Okay, I would recommend starting with this, and then if you find you're not having success with this, start with this. This is a skill that is hard at first, and so if you want to, you can actually practice this by taking a little bit of the extra clay that you had and letting it dry to leather hard and putting the underglaze on it and practicing. Okay, that's a really good option. So the other thing you have to think about is, what pattern do you want? Do you want like a scene like this? Let me zoom in, right? Do you want like almost like a landscape, or do you want an overall pattern like this, where you just have everything kind of filling the space? Or do you want something kind of more abstract? This is a mug that I've made, or kind of a tumbler, and it's just a pattern. Okay, and so if you consider yourself like not a drawer, then something like this would be great. So you might want to look up patterns online, something really simple. So I was thinking that I would make a plate to go along with this cup. Okay, so I'm just going to start doing that. And I did this all freehand, and it's not perfect, and that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to start. You can watch me carve. And all these little extra bits, you don't want them to get in your clay, right? Because they have glaze on them. And so you want to put them off to the side. Those go in the garbage. And if they stay on your plate, which they might, don't brush them off until they're dry. Okay? So I'll show you what I mean. So there, that little bit there, I'm just going to leave it there. Not going to worry about it. And this little bit right there. And when it's fully dry, I can take a dry paintbrush and kind of whisk it away. Just kind of getting these little bits out. These will go in the garbage. Okay, so I wanted to stop here and say you could stop here, and this would be an okay thing for Scrafito, but what really makes Scrafito sing and makes people go, oh wow, is the contrast between the black and the white. So I have tons of black here, and so what I did on the tumbler was I just kind of chipped away some of the black so that it gave me more white, so it's a more balanced black and white. And so you might want to think about that if you want to do that. And you'll notice that I have a whole bunch of little crusty bits and you just want to leave those, okay, until it dries, and then you can just gently wipe them away. But if I were to wipe them away now, they would just get stuck in the recesses here, and then you'd have a whole bunch of little black bits everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start at the bottom and just kind of go like this. And when I get some on my tool, just kind of get them off before I go on. The other thing I forgot to say is, where do you put your hand, right? And so you kind of, sometimes I will hold my hand here so that I don't rest it on my piece. Okay, so just some things to think about. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry to greenware, bone dry, And then I will take a brush and a stiff bristle brush and just kind of sweep away all the excess little bits. And then I'm going to put it in the bisque kiln because it hasn't been bisqued yet, right? It's still raw clay. When it comes out, it's going to look like these. These have just been bisqued. And what you can do is you can just, if you want to, you can just put clear glaze on it, and that way it'll seal the clay. Or you could put some colors down in there and wipe it away, right? Like we've done with the coil bowl, so that you would have like a color in the background. And that might be kind of cool, especially for the flowers, which are so dense, right? To put some color in the background there. That might be cool. Also might be cool here if you put like a sunset in the background. So I'm going to play around with that and just put it in, let it dry, and then wipe it back. And then when it's fired, I'll come back and show you guys. Cool?